Okay, so this is not something I've done before, so hopefully it's not complete dog shit. But we're just gonna go for it. Um, just starting from the top of the draft order, we have the former champ, Mininini. Um, Honestly, starting off incredibly strong. I think Petron is probably one of the better Mons on the board. You'd never think that a Mon could be a steal for just being 1 point under the point cap of 20 at 19, but honest to God, I think Petron is. The thing, you can run like a basic set like every week, just HP special defense with its already obscene like defense stat and just profit. Literally just profit, especially in like a low tier format such as this. But I'll be interested to see what comes of it. Uh, and, it's also been surrounded with, I think, some interesting other options. The psychic terrain from Indeedee is always going to be prevalent in one way or another. You can never really count it out. And then you have good low tier options. I mean, Laurantis has the stats of, Laurantis. It's not great, but Contrary can quickly ramp out of control. I mean, we all know that. Close combats, you're getting free curses just for clicking a 120 power base fighting move, and that's always going to be nutty. Guzzlord as a Terra Captain, I mean, what else is there to say? The thing is a Ultra Beast. It's kind of like already got the nutty stats, and then you go ahead and give it an option to get away from like a quad effective fairy weakness, and you're looking at, I think, something that is really scary, especially when you're looking at other threats like Cleavor and Mega Manetric, who do great in their own right. You have something scary, I think, sitting in the back. Paldean Tauros, solid intimidator. Kudchu always has the potential, I think, especially in Draft League, to be a bit of a funny button. Or funny ability, not really a button. Overall, I think this is pretty good. As for what exactly you're planning to use Psychic Terrain for, I mean, indeed, you can just do stuff in there by itself. Pretty sure the thing gets Expanding Force. Clang has potential for some shift gear shenanigans, even as like an Eviolite Mon. War Turtle's a bulky spinner. Alchemy's like setup stored power. Just a lot of solid options. I am very excited to see this team, personally. Um, Next up, we got Naiten. Also, I can sometimes butcher pronunciations, so if I fuck it up, who gives a shit? Because only like 2 people are probably going to watch this. This, I think, is an interesting team for the fact that it's kind of built around uh, alleviating a little bit of Mega Houndoom's one weakness, which is the fact that it's solar powered. So you're taking what, like 1/8, 1/10 chip, and you have, if maybe an unwieldy but I think somewhat elegant answer in picking up Arbo. Also as a good Mon that's like, oh hey, I've got like a rock type, ground type, water type move coming in on my Mega Houndoom. Let me get some terrain on the field. Terrain extenders aren't banned, I believe, in the rules. It's just the rocks, so like you can get a long-standing grassy terrain. With the weather rocks being banned, I don't know how much of a fan I am of the Mega Houndoom pick, especially at 20 points is incredibly expensive. And with Vulpix being your Sunsetter, I mean, that thing is just it's a Vulpix. I do not think that, at least Ninetales, despite being probably one of the worst weather setters, or at least Vulpix Kanto, or like Ninetales Kanto, I think being one of the worst weather setters. Vulpix is just going to be, I don't know. I think it'll be like I don't see the Vulpix doing much, but it doesn't need to do much other than set Sun for your heavy hitter. Granted, you have stuff that I think a lot of like the middle of the road picks, like your Bellybolt Arbo, are some incredible value picks. I think those are great mons. I know some people really don't like Arbo, but I think it really has potential to pop off. Grassy terrain calcs are always stupid. You can have specs weeks, you can have AV weeks, you can do a lot of fun stuff with Arbo, I think. Mimikyu is always great as a potential stop to stuff that is ramping out of control. Built-in Sash is a hell of a drug. Terra Flygon, any sort of immunity with a Terra Captain is always a good bet. Levitate being no exception, like a Terra Electric Flygon, where you have like EQ, Terra Blast Thunder, or Terra Blast Electric, excuse me, and some Dragon Stab. I'm not really sure what Flygon gets in Gen 9, and if it wasn't obvious that I'm just kind of spitballing this before, it probably is now. Tentacruel is a great removal option. Grounded Poison, you're not worried about coming in on T-Spikes, you're not taking Obscene Rock Chip. You can throw your own T-Spikes on the field. Lucario, Fighting Steel is a pretty good typing. You're not weak to Fairy, you're killing fairies, you're really annihilating dark types, I guess. I don't know. Fairy anything is, or sorry, not Fairy. Steel is always just like a good typing, and I mean Lucario is Lucario. I think it is a very solid pickup. Anorith, I think, is like what, a 1-point spinner, kind of a funny mon. Don't expect it to do much, but yeah, I'll be interested to see, especially how the Vulpix is used. Maybe it won't be used as much as I think it will in this draft. Maybe it was just picked up for like certain weeks. I also think it can be like counter weathered really easily. But we'll see. Into Two-Armed Tucker. I love the Feraligatr first pick. I was looking at it myself. I think that thing is a menace. DD SoFlo, Sheer Force Life Orb, is a hell of a drug. And it's got some fantastic support behind it. Klefki is one of your best all-around utility mons. Prankster, T-Wave, Spikes, Foul Play. I think it gets rocks too. You can do some funny meme stuff. Spec Steel Beam, anyone? Obliterate something that doesn't expect it. Rhyperior as a Terra Solid Rock is just... I mean, you're not killing that thing easily. I'll say that much. Rotom-Mow, I think it's a little overrated at 15, but any of the Rotom-Mons are just going to be solid. They've got great stats. Defog in that dex, I believe. So that's just a solid guy. I mean, any electric type that isn't worried about taking ground type moves, always solid, especially since, your Rotom-Mow, you threaten ground types with your Leaf Storm. Passimian, solid fighting type. I think maybe a little underlooked. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just crazy. Skuntank Dark Poison is a fantastic typing. I kind of have to question having double poison in Skuntank Grafii. I mean, you do have the Levitator in Rotom-Mow, and I mean, you have what's it called? Electromagnetism or whatever it is. The Klefki can, like float and not take. I guess you have like 3 possible ground immunities, so it's fine. I mean, you're probably not running both in the same week. Doodle can be some really fun stuff, doodling Intimidators on, Intimidate Mons. And, like, any sort of, like, ability copying can be incredibly strong and incredibly potent, especially when you get to choose when to copy. Unlike something like Trace, even though Trace is still busted, and you are having to use a move to do it, but Grafii is a incredibly hype mon, I think. Uxie, another great supportive option, I think. Uxie is the bulky one, if I remember correctly, or maybe that's Mesprit. All I know is that Azelf is the offensive one. Terra Drowsy, why the hell not? You got 1.2 mons, or 2 points to use for a Terra. Go wild. Maybe it pops off. I don't know what that thing would ever do, but, it's a funny guy. Really, I think this just comes down to supporting your supremely heavy hitter for Alligator, and I think this team probably does a great job of it. I mean, Rotom has Trick Will-O-Wisp. Skuntank can do some fun stuff. I've seen people Whirlpool Trap with it. Just always a solid mon. I really think this kind of lives and dies by the Feraligatr. Maybe like some Rhyperior can get some like weakness policy rock polish stuff off, and that could be pretty hype, but I think you've got your one main threat, and I'll be interested to... I'm saying I'll be interested, not because I am, but yeah, I think this team lives and dies by the Feraligatr, which I've already said, and so I am just going to kind of move on awkwardly. Table. Alright, Mega Absol. It's a 20-point trapping mon. Bring out your Shed Shells, bring out your Ghost types, bring out your Flying types, and hope you got something. Or wait, no. Mega Absol's a... Am I stupid? I actually gotta look this up. Holy. Absol. I could have sworn... No, it's Magic Bounce. I'm fucking stupid. Okay, no, Magic Bounce. It's still a fantastic ability. I mean, bouncing back status, bouncing back. I mean, I don't need to talk about Magic Bounce for why it's impressive. It's also just got, like, dummy stupid stats in a low-tier environment. I mean, 150 attack is insane. Knockoffs coming off that. I hope to God this thing gets knockoff. Probably does. Knockoff. Crunch, even. Nothing appreciates it. Like, Dark is a fantastic attacking type. So have those resistances ready, otherwise you are taking a beating. Talonflame, I mean, Gale Wings is still Gale Wings, even after the nerf. You can run Utility, you can run Brave Bird, you can run all sorts of stuff. Probably like a Bootsmon most every week, because Flying Fire needs it, but, might you get, like, surprise stuff in there. It's draft, there is always the potential for funky sets to come out. Terra Diancie, I really like, because Rock Fairy having, like, a quad weakness to Steel, weak to Ground, weak to, I mean, you're not weak to Fighting. Like, it's not a bad typing, you've just got some, like, weaknesses, and Terra patches that up, and then you have, like, a Diancie. Pretty good. I'm a fan. Celebi is Celebi. Base 100, gets power crept over time, but again, we are in low tier. You've got Subspeed, you've got Calm Mind, you've got... I mean, I think this thing gets like aromatherapy. This is, I think, a very versatile mon. I think very worth the 18-point price. And the great thing about those 100-point base, not 100-point, 100 base stat all-around mons is that you have something eminently customizable. So, very hard to plan for. I think it's also got a fairly deep move pool. Steelix, I've used myself in the past. Funny mon. Can kind of be hard to get to do stuff, but when you get to do something with it, I think it's very funny. I mean, I've run like a choice band explosion just to like catch something off guard. It's a funny fella, but also you can also just run it as kind of a stealth rocker or like a wall, a bulky thing to just bring in against a physical threat. And I mean, what's like a skunk tank? What's a, you know, of mons that we've looked at? Like, you know, what's like a declang? What's a cleavor? What's a, you know, looking ahead? What's like a, I mean, Nente is probably fine, but like, I don't know. The thing can wall a lot. Would probably be better as just like a solo bulky steal, but for 10 points, I think it does its job fine. Jellicent is Jellicent, you know, kind of like melodic but Gen 5. Sit there, recover, cursed body can always pop off in a really annoying way. Yeah, it's just in my mind one of like the bulky waters. Quillfish, Intimidator, Rapid Spinner, Spikes, T-Spikes, you know, solid guy, throw, Drocoloque. Solid things. The Drocoloque at 3, I think, is possibly a terror that people won't see coming. I mean, yeah, it's no Dragapult, but I suspect there could be some interesting stuff in store there. I think that this has kind of just got a lot of good pivoting. You know, like Quillfish, I know it gets U-turn. I think it gets like flip turn. I think this team can very easily put people in the blender, get in a heavy hitter like Mega Absol, like a Celebi that is maybe more offensive that week. I think this is really just kind of a solid draft. You know, I would be surprised if this doesn't do well. Moving on, Monki, and wouldn't you know it, first up is Monkey Dory. I will admit I am not the most familiar with the Scarvo DLC mons. I mean, except for Petron, because that thing's a fucking menace. But anything with Toxic Chain on it is pretty good. If I remember the stats on Monkey Dory aren't like, this thing's got like the special defense bulk and like not quite the 88s everywhere else, but like it is, as far as I know, solid guy. Poison Ghost, I think. I know it's Ghost. But yeah, Toxic Chain is just solid. Like a fat mon that can poison and confuse your guys is annoying. It's hard to deal with. And speaking of hard and annoying to deal with, Lomomola is right there at 16 points. Regenerator, Wish Passer is incredibly annoying. And incredibly good. One of like the draft mons of all time. It's not going to win games by itself, but it might keep you in a game by itself, just with its sheer ability to take hits, heal up allies, and pass them off. Speaking of Wish Passers, Florges can do that, but at 14 as a Terra Captain, I think there is some potential for some really out of control ramping out of Florges. Entei at 18 is another great threat. You got like Choice Band Sacred Fire. You can run like Sub Sacred Fire. I mean, Sacred Fire is just a fantastic move. 50% burn chance is a hell of a drug. Um, you can. I don't remember what boosting moves Entei gets, but like it's got some. It's got some sauce to it, in the words of Jimothy Cool. Coat some stuff in Mama Liz's chili oil and see what happens. Entei, I think, can really do that. And, I skip Cyclozar. Solid Rapid Spinner. 17, I think, is maybe a little expensive for it. But, normal Dragon is... It's a solid typing. You can rapid spin, you can drop Dracos. You don't always know what Cyclozar is going to do when it comes in, even with like hazards on the field. I think it is a very solid, like not just a blob of a spinner, because sometimes those can get taken advantage of. I don't think Cyclozar is that case, and I guess that's probably what justifies it for being at 17. Age Electrode. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I mean, it's fast. Electric Grass. You're not going to get walled by like any ground type under the fucking sun. Solid. I mean, you can do like eject pack stuff with Leaf Storm. I'm not the biggest fan, but like it's a pivoter. Again, like I think the best teams in draft leagues always have good pivot options, and this team has it. Like Cyclozar U-turn, Aloe gets flip, Age Electrode gets like Volt Switch, Delibird, Rapid Spinner, 3 points. I don't think there's a ton to say there. Go Lurk, Funny No Guard. I think Dynamic Punch is probably banned under Confusion. I don't know if that's actually a ban in this league. I'll find out. I mean, of course, there's evasion clause. It doesn't look like Confusion is, so, you get the funny Dynamic Punch button. Always, a chance to really gain huge momentum off Confusion, but like Golurk is more than that. You get 100% accurate Stone Edges. You can also run Iron Fist, like it's not just purely a no-guard bot. I think it's a great option for 10 points. Ghost type, prevent spinners. Like it's got entry points. It's got an obscene attack stat. It's good stuff. And Cling Clang, you got Shift Gear. You have Gear Grind. You have Volt Switch. That's what I know about Cling Clang. And yeah, I think this is a solid, put you in the wonder with pivot options until something comes in, starts setting up, click big buttons. I don't think this is a flashy team, but I think it is a team that will get shit done. Tylord. Alright. Bisharp, I think, is a kind of underrated first pick. I think that is a fantastic Eviolite mon, which I think comes at a premium in a setup where you need to have different items on all your guys. I really like the Bisharp pick. Hattery, Magic Bounce, Trick Room Setter, which you have Mega Camera up to probably one of the best Trick Room abusers in the format. You also have the option with Noivern for running, what's it called? Tailwind. Again, both of those are more like double strategies, but they are interesting things that give this draft some options. Of course, you definitely do not need to run them on those mons. Hatterene, yeah, it is also just good for, like, setting up. I mean, it's a Psychic type. Like, you get Calm Mind, Stored Power. Noivern can drop Dracos. And, Boom Burst bot. You can, like, Throat Spray on that thing. Again, good with the Item Claws, Blastoise, Shell Smash, Rapid Spinner, can do like different things. You gotta prep different ways for it. It can be like a bulky, toxic spreader. You have, Shell Smash is a threat that can end games. Megarupt is Megarupt. It comes in. It's a button clicker McGee. Like, I don't think much else needs to be said about it. Unburdened Sceptile as a Terramon. You can also do some, like, funny Power Herb dig into, like, acrobatics with, like, a Terra Flying. Sorry if I just ruined your strategy. Probably not. But there's a lot of funny stuff that you can do with Sceptile. You can also run, like, a Sub-Select, well, it wouldn't be Sub-Select, it'd be what is it? Pataya? Lychee. Sub-Lychee. Especially in a format where weather isn't necessarily, like, hail isn't going to kill, since it's snow now. And I don't think anyone drafted any Sand Setters, so, like, Sceptile has some real potential to end games. I think that is very scary for a 8-point Mon. Pinsir at 6. Sword Stance, Moldbreaker. Funny guy. Honestly, I think on this team I would have preferred a Mismagius Terra. That's me. I just think, again, having the potential... no, that's Mega Sceptile that has Lightning Rod. The potential for a immunity with Terra to make like a really strong defensive Mon, especially one with like Mismagius that can do sub CM stuff. But I am possibly undervaluing. I did value the Terra Sceptile strongly, so what am I even talking about? Kecleon is Kecleon. You can set rocks, you can do stuff, color change, Protean. I think it's solid 5-pointer, and Nose Pass is just a silly little 2-pointing guy. I think this has some really solid, Bisharp, you have like anti-defog technology, one of the few ways to do that, with no Golden Go. I will be interested to see if this team leans more into, like, I'm going to run Tailwind more this week, or I'm going to run, like, my setup guys. I'm going to run a Trick Room. I think this team has a lot of modes, and anything that is very versatile like that can also... It's kind of the opposite of, like, your standard pivot, get a threat in, get a knockoff, Regenerator, kind of like... I think Monki and Tylord, it's like the duality of man kind of like setup. So I'll be interested. That is my goddamn catchphrase. I will be interested to see how this goes. What do we got next? Inertia. Okie dokie. Great fucking guy. I said I don't know much about the DLC guys. I guess I kind of told a lie, because this guy pops up in like all the draft leagues I've been in, and he does funny things. Bulk up, you got Guard Dog, you got Toxic Chain. Poison Fighting is a good typing. Great stats, like very worth the 20 points. I think this is something that is incredibly threatening. Goodra, you have Gooey and Sap Sipper, I believe. I think Goodra... it sucks that, like, that bulky of a Mon doesn't have super reliable recovery, but it doesn't always need to, or, like, maybe something has changed in Gen 9 since it was introduced in, Gen 6? I don't think it has, but, I think Goodra is very solid for what it is. You can run it physical special. Solid guy. Inteleon. You don't have your Terra Captain selected, so, like, Inteleon has potential for being a silly guy. Otherwise, you know, you got flip turn sniper, kind of all it needs to do. You got like fast screens, also just like a very fast mon, very good to have. Squeezing, you know, any poison type would levitate, solid. You also have neutralizing gas, very good for things that are like regenerator. You know, bring that in. I don't remember with like regenerator if you need to bring it in as it's swapping out or like, you know, like, but even just having the potential to turn off like regenerator or turn off strong abilities, especially in a format, you know, like turning off like an alone sand slash slush rush. Can you tell I'm just looking over at the right at a team? But like to turn that off and then suddenly be able to get a will-o-wisp off, you know, stuff like that can be incredibly annoying, incredibly strong. Anything with like will-o-wisps, rocks, pain split isn't the best recovery, but it is, I think, better than people give it credit for. Strange steam. You know, you can get like clear smog. Some people really don't like it. I think it is a little underrepresented. Underrepresented. What the fuck am I saying? Underrated. I think people, you know, and maybe in like I think it's been doing better in like the Gen 9 OU ladder and like tournaments recently. So maybe I'm operating off old information, but I'm a Guizing fan. I'm a believer. We'll see if it does well. Mega Bayonet, on the other hand, I am not the biggest believer in. You know, any mega is damn good. Prankster is one of the best abilities in the game. 165 attack, nothing to sneeze at. You just don't have great bulk and 75 speed, so like anything that has, you know, a fast ghost option, fast dark, is just going to be able, I think, to kind of be able to OHKO it. Especially with like, you know, just slap a Lumberry on your mon and then suddenly like, oh, my Prankster, like, Prankster Will-O-Wisp isn't saving me from like a physical dark move. Not to mention that it doesn't do anything for special offensive moves. But again, I am probably not giving this thing enough credit. 165, I mean, nothing wants to swap into that, especially on Ghost Stab. I mean, Ghost Stab is Ghost Stab. You have Shadow Sneak. Like, that shit is hurting. And I mean, it's 12 points. Like, this is not, it's not the end of the world if it's not doing a ton. You have, you know, fucking Okie dokie. Yeah. Like, you've got another great physical hitter. Like, this is not ride or die on Mega Bayonet, and I would not accuse it of such. You got two great intimidators in Masquerade and Incineroar. Incineroar may be the VGC guy, but there's nothing like losing 2 attack stages because Incineroar comes in and clicks Parting Shot, and suddenly you're sad. I mean, I guess there's Clear Amulet, but that is kind of something that feels bad to have to run, where you would probably rather run something else. Maybe not so much in an item clause environment, but, you know, you also have the potential for AV. You have Choice Band Fire Blitzes, Darkest Lariat against like setup sweepers that are in the format. I mean, just kind of a solid guy. Cottonee, Prankster for 2 points, solid. You can do Prankster screens. Galarian Corsola as an Eviolite mon, I think, is great at 8 points. Very overall. I think like your only like super consistent special threat being Inteleon is maybe a little worried, but I mean, Goodra's fine. Goodra does special things like, I mean, I said it's a mixed attacker. I think it's like, what, 100 special attack? 110. Okay, I am not giving Gudra enough credit, and I tried to give it enough credit. Well, shit. Yeah. You know, it's singles. How many different team styles are there? You got some great pivots, good screeners. Your removal, I mean, what? Guizing gets defog, I think. Cottony gets defog, but I mean, you can always bring in a dark type against Prankster, because like if you're bringing that, you're not bringing Prankster. Um, Incineroar, I think gets rapid spin. So yeah, you got like good removal, good pivots, screens. I mean, Mega Banette behind screens. Now that is actually kind of a really threatening thought. Um, I think I will be very interested to see how the Mega Banette does. I'm not the best at like power rating, which it makes it kind of funny for me to do a draft analysis, but I don't know. I think it's fun to just try and get out there and do new stuff, and this is a way for me to like evaluate teams for my own sake. Speaking of evaluating teams, let's keep it going on to Baghead. Zygarde 10%. It's Zygarde. You have 1,000 arrows. You have a ground type move that's what, like 90 power, can hit flying types? That's pretty fucking good. Solid Mon. Solid guy. Good speed tier. Just I look at these top 3 picks, and it is just stuff that I wish I had. Basculegion is, I mean, adaptability wave crash. What else do I have to fucking say? Like, this thing will take you and break you in half. Gardevoir is Gardevoir. You know, you got Trace Shenanigans. Bring it in against a Frostmoth. Get Icy Scales. Bring it in and get Prankster off something. Bring it in and get Intim. Bring it in and get, Sniper. You can get Sheer Force. You can get, like, Trace is Trace. It's the same thing with Grafai and Doodle. And, like, it's two sides of the same coin. Instead of being able to choose what ability you get to copy, you just get one for free. Like, you know, it forces people to make odd choices in draft when you are doing prep. I mean, taking from my own experience and having like a Lantern into a Gardevoir week, like, am I really running Illuminate because I don't want Gardevoir to come in and just remove my pivot and heal? Because I have like Volt Absorb and Water Absorb. Like, Gardevoir forces out strange choices in draft, and I think it is fantastic for that. Like, you don't even need to bring it for it to have an effect, and that is always something that you love to see in draft. Scyther as a Terra Captain, Technician, and then you're getting rid of Bug Flying. Just like make it a Water type, make it a Steel type, make it a Fairy type, and with Eviolite, like, you've got a bit of a menace on your hand. You get Roost, you get Defog, I think. Like, you can run the Scyther in a lot of different ways. I think that is a great Terra Captain pickup. Literally all I need to say for Hisuian Decidueye is, or Decadui, whatever the hell, however you pronounce that, is Triple Arrow. Disgusting move. Next, Alolan Sandslash. You know, no snow for Slush Rush, but Ice Steel, you can still come in against like Dragon type attacks, threaten with Knife Shard. You know, like, Steel Ice kind of really bad for a defensive Mon, but like, you got good stats, you got good moves, and I think, you know, you can always run manual snow on it. It probably gets hail. I don't think there's anything with chilly reception in your draft, but like, you don't necessarily need it. There is always manual hail. Typhlosion is Typhlosion. Specs, or fucking Scarf Eruption is pretty good. You know? One note mons can still be strong. You still like have to respect it in prep, otherwise it can just run you over. Garbodor, grounded poison, T-spikes, big nasty gunk shot. People probably don't want to swap in on. Knockoff, like, you know, it's 9-point poison type, does what it needs to do. Rotom Fan, probably not my favorite Rotom option. I think really you are probably just better off getting something else, but like a flying type and having a Rotom option that doesn't have like, you know, your flying type option is just a solid move. And what is it, like Air Slash? Like, that's fine, that's good. You don't need to worry about missing like a Leaf Storm or an Overheat. Again, any Rotom is just also a solid util option. Trick, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split. You can run it defensive, you can run it defensive. I probably, again, don't give it enough credit for what it has to do. Magnemite for one is Magnemite for one. I don't, like, you do something with that, I will, you know, I'll give you a gold star because I'm broke and can't buy you, like, even a fucking coffee, but pop off. Go for it. Really, I just look at, like, the top 3 in this draft, and I love it. The other stuff, I think, has some strong options or just does what it needs to do. You know, 3 pieces of removal that I can see. What, like, that's Defog. I think A-Slash gets Rapid Spin. Rotom Fan gets Defog. Yeah, good stuff. Have a 1,000 Arrow swap in. Or just perish, I guess. Gilga, my nemesis, fucking sniping me 3 times, as someone so helpfully pointed out. Breloom, Poison Heal Spore. Technician, very versatile mon. You gotta have kind of like multiple different thoughts for how you approach Breloom. Like, sure, I can hit it with a quad flying type, like it doesn't have the most speed, but you know, if it's a technician that week and you get like Mach Punch to death, like that feels bad. You got Subseed, you got Sub Punch, you have a lot of different things. I think this mon earns its 18 points. Honestly, I think it could have been higher. It is a funky fella. It's a versatile fella. And speaking of versatile, speaking of glue, you have Arcanine, Intimidator, Fire type, E-Speed, great Choice Bander, great just like solid Fire type wall. Like, it's the fucking dude. You know, been keeping it real since Gen 1 and what, like 96? Just like, it's keeping it real for 20 years. Give it up for Arcanine. Quagsire, Rocks, Unaware, Recover, Spikes, I think, like, you know, Quagsire is, like, it does what it does and it does it well. Whimsicott, you know, Prankster's great. Defog that's blocked by Dark type feels bad, but you got Prankster Screens, Tailwind, not to mention, like, a good speed tier, if you, like, so you don't, your, like, attacks that you're able to fire off, like your Moonblast, your Giga Drain, like, you can do things with Whimsicott. Like, Prankster Substitute is also a thought, like Prankster Toxic. I mean, they took Toxic a lot from a lot of stuff. I don't know if it still gets it, but for 14 points, I think that mon is a hell of a steal. And speaking of hell of a steal, 8-point Terra Captain in Frostmoth is like, I think this thing is going to be a menace. Ice Scales on a Quiverdance mon that can Terra is, I don't know, pretty crazy, pretty funky, pretty like run HP defense and then quick quiver dance once. And I hope to God that you have a good response to this thing, because I think it will be taking names. Primeape is Primate. Eviolite Rage Fist is damn good. Doublade. Again, like, these are two very, very solid Eviolite options that are hard to remove. And, like, Doublade, I think, is a Rapid Spinner. Alolan Golem, I also wanted. Like, great Terra option, I think. Like, you can do really funny things with, like, Magnet Pole Terra. You have Galvanize for really funny electric type Explosion if you want. Or also just, like, Double Edges. Brute Bonnet is like one of the few Paradox models that we see drafted, so like Booster Energy is at again premium on item clauses. Cutiefly for 1 point is probably one of the better 1 point options out there. You have a Sash Webs lead. Even in the right matchup, you might be able to click like Quiver Dance with that. I like this draft. You got a great prio option in like Arcanine Breloom. Some good pivots, great Eviolite Mons. I think some fantastic Terra options. I think this is a really, really strong team. I am excited to see what you do with it. We got Kinglollipop next, and I am regretting doing this without having some water nearby. Holy, but let's almost get through it. Cobalion. Steel Fighting Justified. Bringing it against Knockoff and Profit. Crobat for 20 points. No, I think that is one of the worst 20-point options on the board. I mean, Crobat is good. I think it's fine, but I don't really care for it, I'll be honest. Reading on Infiltrator, you're getting through screens and stuff, and there are some really good screen teams. You got Brave Bird, Sludge Bomb, Gunk Shot. It is also fast as hell. Like, there's not a lot that is outrunning this. Crobat will do Crobat things. Probably got to run like Boots. You got Roost. We'll see. We'll see what it does. Prove me wrong. I love being proven wrong. I love seeing what Mons can do. I want to see Crobat pop off. Speaking of popping off, Swampert, just like Arcanine's been keeping it real since ADV. You got Rocks. You got EQ, you can run, it's just a solid fucking guy. I mean, one weakness to grass, but you have a great grass type switch in Hydrapple. You have Cobalion, like, Swampert can run a band. You have good coverage options. I am a Swampert super fan. If there are no Swampert fans left on this earth, it is because I am not on it. Speaking of, I think, great options, you have Hydrapple, Regenerator, Grass Dragon. Fickle Beam is a funny meme move, but also just has potential to ruin your whole week. What else is there to say? I mean, come in, click, funny big dragon button, swap out, heal what's been done to you. Great 19-point Mon. Terra Espeon, you have Wish Calm Mind. Protect. Plus, like, Terra move. Like, also Magic Bounce. You're not hitting this thing with Toxic. You're not hitting it with T-Wave. I mean, unless your name is Guizing, but, like, that is a 15-point Terra threat. Pretty good option. In my mind, you can also just run it as like Specs Trick, Scarf Trick. Great option, I think. Overquill, I It's Intimidate, Barbarage, you have Agility. It's fine. I think it's solid. Um, I think a little expensive for what it is. But again, maybe I'm not giving it credit. I guess I am trying really hard to just be positive for like no real reason. If I don't like it, I can just say I'm not the biggest fan. But again, Dark Poison, fantastic typing, having ground as your only weakness. We'll see it. Ditto. I am also a huge Ditto believer. Would have loved to see it as a Terramon. I think Terraket Ditto is it's just a guy. But even then, all these like strong mons that we have been talking about, like a setup Okidogi, set up for Alligator, like Mega Manetric, just things that have like clicked Sword Stance, like a Defiant Bisharp. Ditto can come in and just be a menace. You have to use it well. Like, it is definitely, I think, one of the higher skill 4 mons, but I look forward to seeing some really funny stuff from Ditto. You can also bring it on like a Momoa and copy like a Regenerator pivot, and you can just use it in very interesting ways, and I'm a Ditto fan. Allo Graveler for one. I think that's a fantastic Eviolite pickup. Squirtle, Rapid Spinner. Yeah, solid stuff. I might find like the Overquill and Crobat a little like I'm not their biggest believers, but prove me wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. Next up, we have me. I am I always find myself to be a bit of a clown, but I think maybe I actually didn't draft dog shit for once in my life. Zoroark is just kind of, I love playing the find the ball in the cup game. So, you thought it was Araquanid, you thought it was Palladian Tauros, you thought it was any one of my guys. Nope, get hyper voiced. It's what it does. And it makes people, people forget about it, or they, like, it just adds a extra level of stuff that people have to pay attention to. Maybe it doesn't do as much as I think it will. Maybe it's not as good of a 20-point option. But we'll see. I think it is. I'm excited to play with it. I've wanted to play with one of the Zoroarks for a while, and this is my first chance to, and I am excited to see what it does. Type Null, Eviolite guy. Having like 85, 85, 85 in terms of defenses is disgusting in my mind, and you get a lot of different setups. I look forward to, working with it. Claydol, spinner that doesn't care about spikes, doesn't take a lot of damage from rocks, doesn't care about, like, a spinner you don't have to run boots on. Pretty nice. I think it is a great pick for 10. Also, not to mention, like, funny hee cosmic power, stored power. Always a good check. Paldean Tauros Fire, kind of same thing I said about Palladian Tauros. Intimidator Kachu has meme opportunities with berries. Raging Bull as a better Brick Break is fun. I just think it's a solid guy. A good part of like a Fire Water Grass Core with Palladian Tauros, Araquanid, and Serena. Speaking of Fire Water Grass Core, Araquanid, I mean, it has webs, but also just like funny water bubble calcs. It's just a lad. It's just a guy. Slow U-turn, good option. Dropion, Poison Dark with, some good stats. Battle Armor, never going to crit. Knockoff, Absorber, solid guy. I just think it's a good guy. Probably my favorite out of the Poison Dark, so maybe I'm biased. Maybe that's why I am shitting on Overquill. Sorry, Kinglollipop. We'll see if it does what I want it to do. Serena is just a good second spinner. In my mind, I am kind of happy to end up with it after Whimsicott. I actually think it fits the team better for what I wanted my grass type to do. Queenly Majesty is just solid. On to the Terror Captains. Gavadash is just kind of a funky fella. Play rough. Pastel Veil is poison immunity. Maybe not the best. Terra Agron, I think, is the real winner of the two Terror Captains. I look forward to using my big funny fella. And what can you say about 1 point Vanillish other than 1 point Aura Veil? It's there. It has to demand a little bit of respect. And finally, to end things out, there is Bart. Ninetales as a Sunsetter. 18 points. Funny Solar Beam, funny Overheat. Can't use Heat Rock, but and that really kind of hurts your Venusaur, I feel, but those turns that Venusaur is in the sun and can get a growth, pretty good. It can also just do things in Sun for itself, especially in a low tier format. And speaking of doing things in a low tier format, there is Terra Reva Room. That thing, again, just similar to Frostmoth, I think is going to be one of the menaces of this draft league. That thing is going to go silly, go stupid, and I look forward to seeing that thing wreck the league. Venusaur, what is there to say about fast chlorophyll? Sleep Clause is in effect, so you're only sleeping one thing, but you got a fast sleep powder, you got sun growth, you have Weather Ball, like Venusaur's a menace. Kingdra, water dragon type, you're not weak to ice. You can set up your own Rain Dance, Dragon Dance, and Swift Swim. It's variable, kind of weird with the Ninetales, but it gives you a different option. You can also still run that with Venusaur for giving Venusaur water coverage against fire types, which is neat. I will definitely be interested to see what you do with the Kingdra on the squad. Donphan is the GOAT. 15-point spinner, Ice Shard, Earthquake, Rapid Spin, what else do you need? Heliolisk in Sun, Solar Power, funny guy. Charizard, another solid Sun abuser. I don't know, you've got some pretty good Sun Mons, and you're not all in on Sun, so I think it's a fairly good Sun team. Morgrim gives you Eviolite screens, and Furfrou is fluffy, just like a good defensive pivot. Realistically, I think you've got a pretty solid setup here. And wouldn't you know it, we are all out of teams for me to yap about. Hopefully, if you decided to watch this, it was not horrific to listen to. And have a good day, and I look forward to a good season. So let's all get it. See you later, folks.